Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like over on Prizepicks for the Week 7 college football slate. We're going to be talking about some props I like for the college football games on Saturday. Now, I am recording this video on Friday afternoon. I typically always make these college football videos on Friday. We do have some games Friday night, but there was no props that I really liked in those games. So we're just going to be focusing on the Saturday slate. Obviously, there's going to be a ton of games on Saturday. We got some big matchups. We got a top 5 matchup between Ohio State and Oregon. We also got some other matchups like LSU, Ole Miss should be a good one, and then I think there's some other games too. But yeah, Ohio State or Oregon's kind of the big matchup of the week. But a lot of good games this Saturday. I got 3 props, guys, that I do like for this college football slate that we're going to talk about. And as always, we're going to break down these 3 plays. We're going to share why I like them. Now, before we do get started, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these college football videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have an account over on Prizepicks, be sure to sign up. Use promo code NOAH. When you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first lineup, you will instantly get $50 in promo funds added to your account. So you sign up, make a deposit, use code NOAH, place a $5 lineup. Doesn't matter if you win or lose that lineup, you will get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account that you can then use towards additional lineups. And obviously, any money you win with that, then can be withdrawable if you choose to withdraw that money. But definitely check out Prizepicks if you guys have not yet. And again, make sure to use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. But yeah, guys, we got 3 plays to talk about for college football. Week 7 season is absolutely flying by, man. It felt like literally a week ago I was making my first ever college football video, and we're already into week 7. But yeah, I got 3 props for today, guys, so let's go ahead and break them down. So the first prop that I'm liking is going to be a pass plus rush yards prop, and I like an under here. We're going to take Cade Klubnik for under or less than 312.5 pass plus rush yards. So you look at Cade Klubnik's game log this season, for what it's worth, doesn't mean much. Every week is a new week, but for what it's worth, Cade Klubnik has gone under this line in 4 out of his 5 games this season. The one game he did go over was against Appalachian State, and that was a spot where Cade Klubnik was really efficient as a passer. He only threw the ball 26 times, but he completed 24 of 26 passes, so he completed 92% of his passes in that game against Appalachian State. He had 378 pass yards and then 5 rush yards. That type of efficiency, quarterbacks are not going to complete 90% of their passes. That's a kind of an outlier thing that only happens once in a blue moon. So you can't expect that type of efficiency from Cade Klubnik. You look at his last few games though: 209 pass yards against NC State, added on 70 rush yards. 255 pass yards against Stanford, added on 48 rush yards. Last week against Florida State, 235 pass yards, added on 62 rush yards. Klubnik has had some big games lately on the ground, but he has historically not been this good of a running quarterback. And I was looking at some other props for Klubnik this week, and honestly, another prop that I liked was his under on 40.5 rush yards. That line just feels a little bit inflated, just kind of due to some recent games. If you look at Klubnik's game log last season, he only ran for 194 yards total last season. You look at this 3-game stretch, he's ran for like over 190 yards just in these last 3 games. Maybe this is the type of player that Klubnik's going to be moving forward, but I'm not going to bet on that. I definitely think his rush yards line is inflated because of these recent performances. You look at last season, he only had more than 40 rush yards in 3 games last season, and there were, I believe, 6 games last season where he had negative rush yards. So he'll take sacks, he'll get negative rush yards. This is obviously a good matchup against Wake Forest. Wake Forest defensively, they are terrible. Like, they're probably one of the worst defenses overall in the country. So I do expect Clemson to be able to move the ball down the field, put up points in this matchup. But there's a lot of ways that we can cash this under on Klubnik. For one, maybe he's just not as good of a runner in this spot. Like, maybe he doesn't run for 60, 70 yards again like he has been lately. I wouldn't bet on that. You look at his pass yards line, he's only projected for 265 pass yards. Maybe he's a little bit better through the air in this matchup, doesn't add as much on the ground. There's a lot of ways, though, that we can cash this under. Clemson, they're huge favorites in this game. They're 20.5-point favorites. So there's definitely a chance that Klubnik might not even play the whole game here, just because Clemson could be up big. If they're up big, obviously they could choose to rest Klubnik to pull him out. Again, I know Klubnik has been playing really well lately, been looking really good as a runner and as a passer, But even in a good spot like this against Wake Forest, this line of 312.5 does feel really inflated for Klubnik. He's going to need, I think, a lot to go right to go over this line. Clemson's going to have to be super, super efficient moving the ball down the field, which against Wake Forest, they definitely could be. But I think this line's a little bit inflated of 312. I like the under here. I mean, you add his pass yards plus his rush yards, that only puts him at 305. Like this line of 312 does feel a little bit high. Plus, I was looking at FanDuel Sportsbook, and FanDuel Sportsbook actually has Klubnik's pass yards at 258.5. So Prizepicks seems to be a little bit higher here on Klubnik compared with his pass yards, with his pass plus rush yards. Again, I'm kind of betting on Klubnik not being as good of a runner moving forward. I like his under on rush yards. Pass plus rush yards though is the prop that I like most this week. So we're gonna play that as our first prop for Saturday. Next prop I like is a fantasy score. If you're new to Prizepicks, you don't know how fantasy score works, really self-explanatory. Just click fantasy score scoring chart. Just click scoring chart right here, and you'll see how it's calculated. It's the same scoring system for college football as it is for NFL. So if you take fantasy score props for NFL, it's the same scoring system for college football. So the fantasy score that I do like this week, we're going to go down to the Georgia game, Mississippi State, and I like Trevor Etienne for more than 18.5 fantasy score. Now, if you look at Trevor Etienne's game log this season, he's played 4 games this season. You don't want to look at the game against FSU because that was last season when he was on Florida. Obviously, he's on Georgia now, different team. He's played 4 games this season. He was suspended in their week 1 game against Clemson, so he didn't play against Clemson. And then against Tennessee Tech, he didn't really get a ton of opportunity that week because it was a game that Georgia easily won. They won that game 48-3. Etienne only got 5 carries for 78 yards. I'm pretty sure it was reported that he was going to have like a limited workload for that game. But he saw 5 carries for 78 yards. And then the last 3 weeks, I don't know why Prizepicks, the screen just went black on me. Let me put these props back in. So we got the Klubnik under, we got the Etienne over. But yeah, Etienne against Tennessee Tech, 5 carries for 78 yards, so he didn't get a ton of volume. But the last 3 weeks, he's really started to earn kind of that workhorse type role that we kind of expected him to have on this Georgia team when he transferred to Georgia. In the last 3 weeks, against Kentucky, 19 carries, also had 1 reception, so 20 touches. Against Alabama, 12 carries and 2 receptions, so 14 touches. And then last week against Auburn, 16 carries and 6 receptions, so 22 touches. He's had at least 20 touches in 2 of their last 3 games, so he's starting to get the volume now. Last week, we saw him get 6 receptions, so if he can kind of add on some usage in the passing game too, like if he can get a couple catches, that's only going to make his fantasy score upside higher. For Prizepicks PPR scoring, or for Prizepicks fantasy scoring, it is full PPR, so you do get a point per reception, so it's valuable if you can get running backs that can catch passes, and Etienne did catch 6 passes last week. So I think we're going to see plenty of volume for Etienne here overall. This is a spot where Georgia should have no problem moving the ball down the field. They should be able to put up points against this Mississippi State team. You look at Mississippi State this season, they have been absolutely terrible on the ground. They haven't been able to stop running backs at all. Mississippi State is allowing over 234 rush yards per game, which is one of the highest marks in the country. So Georgia should be able to move the ball down the field with ease here against this Mississippi State team. Etienne should be very efficient running the ball in this matchup. I do also like him for over 85.5 rush yards, but I could definitely see a scenario where maybe he only gets 80 yards, but still goes over fantasy score because he could get 1 or 2 touchdowns. Etienne is heavily favored, minus 550 on DraftKings to score a touchdown. So I think he's got a pretty good chance at least 1 touchdown here, if not maybe multiple touchdowns. But these are 2 props I do like a lot for Etienne. More than 85.5 rush yards, more than 18.5 fantasy score. Like this spot for Georgia to put up points. They have a super high team total, 44.5 team total. So, I mean, Georgia's expected to score. Well, Etienne's fantasy score just got bumped on me. So maybe not take fantasy score then. Maybe we'll take rush yards instead. You could still take fantasy score, but I still like both these props. I think it's a really good spot for Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be able to move the ball down the field pretty easily in this matchup. And I was looking at some fantasy score projections. One of the reasons that I like this Etienne over, the projections that I look at, they had Etienne projected for a little bit over 20 fantasy points. Obviously, the line got bumped now, so the fantasy score doesn't look as good now. I posted this on my Patreon, by the way. I do give out Prizepicks plays every day on Patreon. These are props that I've already posted on Patreon, so I'm trying to post them on YouTube as well for you guys, for the people who watch these videos for free. But if you do want the Prizepicks plays from me before they bump, you can get over on the Patreon. We give out plays there pretty much every day. Give out plays for NFL, for college football, NBA coming up soon. We're going to be giving out plays for NBA. I posted the ETN fantasy score line at 18.5. Obviously, just got bumped now. You can still take it at 19.5, but honestly, I think I like rush yards more now because I think there's pretty. I don't know if ETN can go over 19.5 fantasy score without getting 86 rush yards unless he gets like 2 touchdowns, which he definitely could in this matchup. But yeah, we'll take rush yards instead since the fantasy score line got bumped. But overall, like the spot a lot for ETN. Like that the volume has been ticking up for him. And if he continues to get close to 20 carries on the ground, especially in this matchup, he should be really efficient. I like his chances of averaging over 4 yards per carry, especially against a Mississippi State team that has not been able to stop the run game at all. So that's the second play I like for Saturday. And then the third and final play I like is another pass plus rush yards prop. And we're going to take Diego Pavia for more than 208 pass plus rush yards, 208.5. So you look at Diego Pavia this season, he has played really well. He posted really good numbers last season at New Mexico State. I actually watched a couple New Mexico State games last season because I took some Diego Pavia overs. And I'm a big fan of Diego Pavia. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a guy that, at least as a quarterback, he is a valuable quarterback for fantasy because he's someone that can get points as a passer. He can get points as a runner. He is a dual threat quarterback. So I do like his pass plus rush yards here because he does offer rushing upside. And you look at Diego Pavia's projections. He's projected for 161.5 pass yards, projected for 44.5 rush yards. I mean, you look at his pass yards line, he's gone over that in 4 out of 5 games this season. You look at his rush yards line, he's gone over that in 4 out of 5 games this season. I understand why his lines are lower this week because this is kind of a tougher matchup on the road against Kentucky. Kentucky historically been kind of a good defensive team. But you look at Pavia this season, he has done really well even in tough matchups. So he had to face Alabama last week. We know what happened there. Alabama got upset against Vanderbilt. Pavia threw for 252 yards and then ran for 56 yards on Alabama. The week before that against Missouri, another good team, Pavia threw for 178 yards and then added on 84 rush yards. So he has shown an ability to be good as a passer and as a runner. He's run for at least 40 yards in every game this season, and he's thrown for at least 178 yards in 4 out of 5 games. The one game where Pavia did go under this pass plus rush yards line was week 2 against Alcorn State. And if you look at that game, it was a massive blowout win for Vanderbilt. They won that game 55-0. Pavia only had to throw the ball 13 times because Vanderbilt was just putting up points every drive, and Pavia didn't even really have to do much late in the game. Like if you look at the play-by-play, I'm pretty sure Pavia didn't even attempt to pass in the fourth quarter. I don't think he ran the ball at all in the fourth quarter either. Vanderbilt was basically just running the ball, killing the clock in that game. But every other game this season that has been remotely competitive, Pavia has easily gone over this pass plus rush yards line. And I get it. Like I understand why his lines are lower because of the matchup against Kentucky. But I just think Diego Pavia is a good player. And I know that's stupid to say, taking an over on a guy because you think he's a good player. But really feel like the sports books are not adjusting enough for Diego Pavia. Maybe this is the week that he crashes and burns, but I've seen so much from Diego Pavia to show that he is a talented quarterback that can throw the ball well and can run the ball. And against Kentucky, I know this isn't the greatest matchup, but you look at the last 2 games against Alabama, against Missouri, Pavia has still been able to put up good numbers. It's been able to put up 260 plus pass plus rush yards. Like this is a spot where he continues that. I mean, don't think he's going to have the greatest game passing, maybe only 150 yards, but he can easily give you 50, 60 yards on the ground. He's getting a lot of volume as a runner. It's not like he's breaking off it's not like he's only getting like 4 or 5 carries and he's breaking off long runs. No, he's getting like running back type carries. 26 carries week 1, 13 carries, 15 carries, 17 carries, 20 carries. Like they'll call design runs for Diego Pavia. Like they'll do quarterback draws, they'll call read options, design runs. So he gives you a lot of he can give you a lot of yards as a runner too, to go along with what he can give you as a passer. And if you look at this game, I mean, Vanderbilt, they're 13.5 point underdogs on the road against Kentucky, so they're probably going to be forced to throw. Pavia's going to have to drop back, and when he drops back to throw, obviously he could pass and get yards, but he could also scramble and get yards. So that's kind of why I like adding the pass plus rush yards here. But I'm a fan of all Diego Pavia props this week. I like his over on pass yards, over on rush yards, even fantasy score I don't mind either. But my favorite prop is definitely the 208.5 pass plus rush yards. So these are 3 picks, guys, that I do like for college football on Saturday. We got Cade Klubnik for less then 312.5 pass plus rush yards. We got Trevor Etienne for more than 85.5 rush yards. Was going to take Trevor Etienne for more than 18.5 fantasy score, but as you can see, that line got bumped up to 19.5. You can still play it at 19.5, but I don't like it as much with that bump line. And then we're taking Diego Pavia for more than 208.5 pass plus rush yards. These are 3 picks I like, guys. 3 free plays for you. If you want more Prizepicks plays from me, again, check out the Patreon. I've got 3 other plays posted over on Patreon for college football. I'm pretty sure they've already bumped by now, so it's kind of hard to recommend getting over to the Patreon because like especially for college football, plays bump very quickly. But I got college football plays usually post on Fridays on Patreon for the Saturday games. Sometimes I'll post plays during the week too for like the Thursday, maybe sometimes like the Wednesday games, stuff like that. We did have some college football plays for yesterday that we posted. So get over to the Patreon, guys. Check that out if you're interested. It's $20 per month, so it's very affordable. The link is down below in the description. But as always, if you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, just hit that like button. That's all that I ask. If you guys have not yet, also hit that subscribe button. And if you are new to Prizepicks, and if you don't have a Prizepicks account, be sure to sign up. Use promo code NOAH. Get those $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account once you place your first lineup. So check out Prizepicks if you guys have not yet. But good luck this week. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.